Once it's game time, I'm bringing my best self.
And here he is, Tyler Black in his big league debut.
I love it.
Slices one to the gap in left center. Siri on the move, and he can't catch it. Double for Tyler Black, his first
What's
big
the
league
trick
hit.
when you're not feeling good?
Baseball's hard enough, man. Just being at peace with, I did what I could at the end of the day. If I do what I can at the end of the day, if I work as hard as I can, and it doesn't work out, then so be it.
From hockey also helps.
There's a base hit to right field.
Welcome to Milwaukee.
Welcome to another episode of Conversations, and I'm joined by the number 6 prospect in the Milwaukee Brewers organization, Tyler Black. Welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, Cho.
I'm super excited because I had a personal relationship with you before. When you're 15, 16 years old, or I think you're 16 years old, I didn't know where you were coming from, but I remember you were a guy that was like everybody wanted in terms of this guy is has a lot of tools, and it's that transition from, I guess, elite baseball, where it was the Toronto Mets that you ended up joining. What do you remember about your time, I guess, with the Toronto Mets?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a thing where I played hockey my whole life. Baseball was just kind of a way to get off the ice in the summer with my buddies. And, I was kind of good at it. And it came time to make a decision. I was 16, and I actually chose baseball, obviously. So decided to go to the Toronto Mets, get serious about it. And, yeah, it was great. Great group of coaches, yourself, obviously, Ryan McBride, Rich Leach, Chris Kemmel was there too. It was great group of guys too. So
what made you make that decision? Because obviously you were a two-way sport kind of growing up, I guess, hockey and basketball or any other sport?
Yeah, hockey, baseball, basketball, played some football too. Yeah.
But then hockey and baseball obviously were the kind of two focal sports that you were honing in on at the time?
Yeah, so I played AAA hockey in Markham, and I don't know, it was really serious at a young age, and I think personally for me, I brought a lot of that into baseball, competitive side of it. I was playing baseball for the Ontario Prospects and Markham Mariners at the time, which was pretty serious, but it wasn't as close to as hockey. And I think, I don't know, something about baseball is just fun for me, and the work wasn't hard, it was more fun, and I just enjoyed it more. So
let's talk about your transition from I guess high school baseball into college baseball, because I knew you weren't at your development yet, because everybody's development's different. And I knew that you were going to be a Division I baseball player, but we didn't know kind of when everything was going to be okay, Tyler Black is performing now at that highest level. What was that transition like from high school to, I guess, Wright State? Because Wright State was that your number one choice going out of high school?
Yeah, that was, I didn't have a lot of
fit.
offers, honestly. So I actually got hurt my grade 11 year. I hurt my ankle. Bond Park in North York.
I remember that. I have a message actually. I messaged you when I heard that news. I was like, oh man, that's a bummer. But
it was brutal. But that kind of scared a lot of schools off of me, and didn't get a lot of opportunities after that. But I think Wright State came and saw me my grade 12 year in the fall, and they liked what they saw. I was pretty much set on going to a junior college at that point. Those were really my only options, and went to Wright State, visited the place, loved the coaching staff, and it was game on from there, man.
So talk about your freshman year there. You kind of went off as a freshman. I think that was kind of when everybody was like, okay, eyes on Tyler Black now. He's doing it at the highest level right now, which would have been Division I baseball. What clicked, I guess, during that time?
I think it was just the environment around me. It was great. I went to Wright State. There's a lot of people similar to me in terms of, I wasn't a high recruit. I played a lot of different sports, and I love to compete. Those were kind of the main things. And there's a lot of football players they turned into baseball players from Ohio at Wright State when I was there my first year. And, I came in as a freshman. They thought they were going to redshirt me. I ended up winning a starting job and, kind of went from there. But everyone was there to work. Everyone was there to compete. That kind of rubbed off on me. And, the coaching staff there was great. Alex Sogard, who's still there, was the man. He made me feel comfortable from the beginning. But there's a lot of tough days as a freshman. I came in, I didn't know how to do laundry barely. I didn't know how to cook. You know,
Right.
I'm with 3 guys I barely know. I'm homesick, stuff like that. You know, and
You don't really realize how important that is until
it's huge.
You're pushed against the corner saying you got to do your own laundry
yeah.
now.
Yeah. So I was like kind of on my own there in a
Right.
different country, and you know, for a lot of kids, that's definitely really hard. But just kept on going, and you know, the environment around me had my back, and you know, I have some of my best friends still from there. So
Right. Talk about your freshman to sophomore year. Was there any injuries that happened in your sophomore year? Because
yeah, so I tore my labrum the end of my freshman year, diving into a bag, and tried rehabbing it, tried coming back a couple times. I went into my sophomore year, struggled a little bit with that, and you know, wasn't performing well. And it was coming down to it where I had to get surgery or I had to redshirt. And literally right before we had to make that decision, COVID shutdown happened, and
right.
I got lucky. I was able to get surgery right after that, and I was good to go by my junior year.
So it was already a shortened season anyways
Yeah.
for you, so it really kind of helped not having a full season
I would've-
anyways because you're just
I would
recovering.
have probably either redshirted, or if the surgery gets pushed back, I'm probably pushed back my junior year. So
Right.
really lucky with that timing, man. Really lucky.
What was going through your mindset, I guess? Because for me, when I'm just looking just purely on stats, you had a lights out freshman year and then another setback because you've obviously dealt with an injury before leading up to, I guess, a couple of your more important years in high school. How did you rebound from something like that where it's just like, boom, like another big injury that sets you back, this time at the college level?
Yeah, I just think it's how you bounce back from that. You know, obviously I wasn't happy at the situation. You know, you can feel sorry for yourself all you want, but at the end of the day, like, you got to keep moving forward. And, you know, I had my junior year coming up, and it was my draft year, and we had a really good team. My roommate was actually injured with me, had the same surgery, so that kind of helped me push through a lot of days. But yeah, man, it's just, you know, have to keep moving forward. It's like baseball. Like,
Right.
you know, you go 0 for 3 with 3 punches, you got a 4th AB. It's like, what are you going to do, man? That doesn't matter anymore. So obviously didn't have a good second year at all.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't perform, and like, obviously my shoulder was messed up. So just to come back, I kind of made it a point of emphasis for me, like, to come back the way I did. Like, I wanted to prove it to a lot of people that, you know, I was healthy and in a good
Right.
spot. So
No, it seems like what you like to do is almost use that as fuel to, and we always hear that. It's like, hey, use the negatives as fuel to kind of get better. But it's so true when it comes to, you know, performing or doing something incredible or successful, like, you know, playing baseball and you want to see results. It's not this trend upwards always where everything is always good. People don't realize there's so much you have to go through to kind of get to that level. And that's kind of the point I wanted to make, is just based on your numbers. I knew there were setbacks for you to now achieve something even greater, right? So I look at your junior year where now you're talking first rounder. Like, where did that all come from?
it was crazy. It was a crazy ride. I knew, you know, I had meetings with scouts the beginning of the year and everything, and obviously had my agent kind of on it. But during the year, like, my big thing was just staying in the moment. And I think the group around me, once again, like, the environment around me helped me so much. Like, we had a lot of good players around me.
Right.
We had a lot of other good players that were going to get drafted, a lot of good players in good positions. And it was just like, you know, every day you're showing up for those guys. Like, a lot of guys get caught up in the draft stuff. Definitely was on my mind, in the back of my mind, like, for sure, you know. But
And that year you guys were in a regional.
yeah,
too,
we went to Tennessee that year. Heartbreaker, man. Heartbreaker.
I know. I seen that you were on the Apple Taco podcast too, explaining
Yeah.
that. I remember.
with Willow.
Yeah, with Willow and Beggar.
Yep.
And man, that was a crazy game.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. What do you remember about that?
Not much, honestly. It's
Yeah.
kind of a blackout game.
Right.
I just remember Drew Gilbert hitting the walk off, and, you know, just kind of being stuck there. I don't think they let us leave for like 20 minutes after the game because the people were still going nuts. It was, to this day, the craziest thing I've seen in baseball.
And
honestly.
let's talk about college baseball a bit in that aspect, because I feel like it's very different than pro baseball. especially in terms of, I guess, in the minors, you really don't get the big crowds, and it's like everything's on the line, like what you've experienced at Wright State and that Tennessee game, right? So what do you feel, because as a, I guess, 20-year-old or 21-year-old, the amount of pressure that is for someone that young in front of 10,000 peeps, screaming fans, they're not even your own fans, right?
Yeah.
How's that?
I mean, I didn't really, like, crazy as it is to say, I didn't really feel pressure, you know? It's all about perspective.
Right.
You know, like what you just said, like 3 years ago, I had no offers. So what kind of pressure is that? You know, I've already came this far. Like, I'm still the same person. I still remember that. So I was just thankful to be in that moment, honestly. Like, super in the moment. Like, I think that's why also, like, I blacked out. When you're in the present moment so much, you don't really realize what's going on around you.
Right.
And I think, like, that place helped me with that a lot, honestly. So.
No, I love that. I mean, that's all you could do is you could only control you being in that present moment, right? But what would you say to someone who struggles with that? Like, because obviously it's easier said than done. It's
Absolutely.
like when the way I see it, like when you just told me, it's like you probably locked in. You're locked in so much that that doesn't even faze you. Like playing in front of, you're here to win. You're here to help the team, and you put in the work that you know that you're ready.
Yeah.
Right. So what would you say to someone who, you know, and I see this all the time in the younger kids, they have all the talent in the world, but when it comes to, okay, now it's game time, it's performance time on the line.
Yeah.
Right. When you're back against the wall, a lot of kids crumble.
Yeah.
Right. And you said it's perspective, right? So could you elaborate on that aspect or help someone?
I think a lot of it too is just experience. And, you know, like failure, like you can't be scared to fail in this game. Like it's going to happen.
Right.
You know, I've lost many games, made game ending errors, struck out to end the game. Like it just happens. It's part of the game. But, you know, when I talk about perspective, a lot of that comes back to work ethic, comes back to experience, and, you know, just being at peace with I did what I could at the end of the day. You know, if I do what I can at the end of the day, if I work as hard as I can, this is a goal I have, blah, 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 and it doesn't work out, then so be it. But, like, you know, at the end of the day, all you can do is control what you can. And obviously it's easier said than done. But if you kind of keep that perspective, keep that goal, it's much easier to deal with that for sure.
Let's shift over to kind of like you as a player, because now I'm looking at you as, I guess, the type of player you are, how you fit in terms of a big league club. What I always liked about you, especially, we were just talking about it before, is an important stat that nobody looks at now is kind of like your walks and strikeouts. And the thing that stood out to me, like the first thing was you had 38 walks in your freshman year, and you punched out 18 times. Like that's almost doubling your walk to strikeout ratio, where most people are half of their walks equates to their strikeouts, right? So they're on the other side. But to me, when I see someone like that, it automatically tells me, okay, this guy has plate discipline. He has a good idea of the strike zone, of what he can handle and what he can't handle. Right. And usually those numbers go hand in hand with the batting average. Not saying batting average is all that, but I'm telling you, the OPS batting average is a result of a good approach. And the walks to strikeout shows me that this kid has a really, really good approach. Did that ever like enter your mind saying, I take pride in this? Or is it more of a, this is what I'm trying to accomplish as a player?
I just think it's a lot of things. First off, like I take pride in not striking out. You know, I think the game nowadays, like strikeouts aren't as frowned upon as much. I think the game's going back that way a little bit, right. Which is good. But I truly think, like, if you're trying to win a baseball game, I get you're trying to hit homers and do damage and all that, and like that helps. But at the end of the day, like if you put the ball in play more than the other team, statistically, you have a better chance to win.
Right.
I truly believe that. Like it's not that hard.
It's very logical, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to give away an at bat with 2 strikes trying to pump one. You know, now in pro ball, like I kind of went through spurts where I haven't tapped into as much power as I could have, I feel like. And that's kind of where, for me personally, I want to grow. I want to grow in the damage department. So you know, kind of picking my spots here and there, hunting certain zones. That's where it goes into approach for sure. But I think the walk stuff and the strikeout stuff, like, starts in practice, like taking pride in, you know, seeing the baseball. Like, you're hitting a machine, see the baseball. You know, like, if you're cranking up the machine and it's shooting a ball 3 balls off and you're not aware of that, like, what's going on? You got to be aware of what's going on at all times. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I think it's easily trainable. I know they try to train it nowadays in baseball, like it's a huge thing. But I just think once you take pride in striking out less, like, I'm pissed when I strike out, you know? Like, I truly think that guy beat me out there. So, yeah, that's just kind of.
And you said they're starting to emphasize that more. You find in pro ball, or?
Yeah, I think so. Just swing decisions and everything. And for me, like, I've always had naturally good swing decisions. So trying to kind of use those swing decisions to do as much damage as I can. So instead of hunting a certain zone, or I'm going to hunt this zone, that maybe I'll be successful more off this guy. So it kind of goes into that. So.
Right. So this is just a random question, but in terms of your approach up at the plate, 0-0 count, like, what are you looking for, like, in particular? You're just ready to hit.
I'm ready to hit.
Yeah,
I'm sitting
don't miss your
dead
pitch.
red fastball most of the time. You know?
And doesn't matter if the guy flips you a curveball, but if it's dead red.
Yeah. So obviously, like, I want to be able to use the whole field. For me too, as a hitter, like, I don't want them to game plan against me. My goal is for them to game plan against me and not have a place to beat me. I don't want them to be like, all right, here. This is how we get him out. Bang.
Right.
I don't want that to happen. So for me, if he throws an 0-0 fastball, outer black, like, yeah, maybe I take my single to left. But if he hangs a slider there, like, it's going to be on. So
right.
stuff like that, you know, obviously I sell out for pitches in certain situations, and I've kind of learned that in pro ball, the more at-bats I get, picking my spots. But I think it's just, you know, you got to find out as a hitter who you are. And I think for me, like, just starting to really realize that more and more. So
let's talk about what you just said, that statement. I like that because I think self-awareness is key. Like,
yeah,
a lot
absolutely.
of kids try to be who they're not. And it's a recipe of disaster, really, because they're trying to lift the ball when, you know, they're not that type of player anyways. It's not really helping anybody. It's not helping the team. Right. So what, like, self-awareness in terms of that, can you elaborate on, like, do you feel like you found out who you are, or is that still a process?
Still a process.
Right.
For me.
It changes too,
you know,
I bet.
It's
too, right?
always changing. And, you know, I kind of, I go through spurts where, you know, sometimes I may be walking a lot, but I'm also missing pitches, you know. So, like, stuff like that, you can't always just look at the numbers.
Right.
For me, it's just kind of figuring out who I am. And, you know, once it's game time, I'm bringing my best self to the field. You know, I'm bringing my best self to the batter's box. I'm not worried about doing this, and this. Whatever I got, let's go play. So,
and then for me, I feel like it's easy to hit when you're feeling good, when you're seeing the ball well, when your swing feels, anything you like swing at, you're hitting, you're barreling. But what's the trick when you're not feeling good to still be able to not be defeated before you even step in there?
I think it's just not even realizing when it's going good or going bad.
Right.
Just staying even. Like, you'll go through hot streaks, and you, like, I've gone through many hot streaks hitting wise, where maybe I'm blooping balls in.
Right.
You know,
Blooping
balls, they're falling. I'm hitting a 20 hopper through the 4-hole. But, like, for me as a hitter, like, is that really successful? So, like, for me, it's all about, once again, like, you got to be aware of what you want to do up there. I'm up there, I want to hit the ball hard, and I want to swing in a good pitch to hit. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, the more you can kind of focus on that and hold yourself accountable to that, I think it's huge.
Yeah, the results will take care of itself.
The results take care of themselves.
No,
as
I
hard
love
as that is to say, because that's very hard to do in this game. You know, like,
no, and that's my point.
You go 0 for 20, 0 for 25, and you're like, damn, like, I've hit some balls hard. I've had good at-bats. Like, let me change this.
Yeah,
no.
And then you're done.
You got to continue to just, if it's going good, going bad, like, every day show up, you do your routine. You know, whatever you need to get your swing in that spot, your body, your mental in that spot, and you just go compete, man. And that's it.
Now, I think you hit it on the nail that it's like, that's tough as a baseball player to stay neutral.
Yeah.
You know, because when
I
things
was
are gonna,
terrible
yeah.
at it. I was so bad at that. High school and college, even like early in the minor leagues, so reactive. Like even umpires. Like I've definitely learned. I still get pissed all the time, but it's at the end of the day, like what can you do?
Right.
You're getting rung up on a ball, 2 balls off of the plate. In my mind, that's a good at bat. Flush it, next pitch. Instead of like now you're reactive to that, and now you're like, oh, I got to cover that, like all this. Like no. Just hunt a good pitch. And
so how did you learn that? Like, what was there a moment where? Because I remember when I learn stuff, it's usually I mess up really bad, and then somebody, either my teammate or coach, calls me out, rips me a new one, and then it's kind of like, okay, like I learned from it. It will never happen again. Was that something that happened, or is it more as you get older?
No one ripped me. Like, I mean,
they're probably scared of you.
Yeah, no one ripped me, but like I was just like. I just was sick of kind of playing that way. Like I wasn't playing free. I was kind of like, baseball's hard enough, man. Like I played enough, like failed enough. Like it's a hard game, man. Yeah. So the more you can kind of control what you can, that's all you can do. All you can do, and really like be dialed in on what you can control. It goes hand in hand, and I'll say it goes hand in hand probably with successful hitting. Honestly, like, when I'm reactive and I'm chasing pitches and It's what a pitcher's trying to do to you. A pitcher is trying to get you to be reactive. He's trying to mess up your timing. He's trying to get you to chase, The more you can stay stubborn in your zone and hunt a certain zone, and that's it, he's in trouble, you know? So
no, that's awesome, because I feel like now, like getting to talk to you right now, it's clear that your maturity from a mental standpoint has been a huge part of your success, no doubt, because I feel like a lot of people don't even experience that in their whole career. They can't even, and they say that after the fact. They say that, man, this is where I messed up. I was too reactive. I just, everything that happened, I got emotionally stirred for whatever reason. And it goes back to staying in that neutral state, not getting, flustered. It's a hard game. You got to accept it and not trying to do more than what you can do in terms of showing up, right?
I think it's just the game too. Right. Like, basketball, even hockey, you can control a lot of things, man. Like you can grab the puck and beat everyone and score and do whatever you want, and like all that. But like baseball, like there's a guy throwing to you and I have to react to that. I have to make a decision to hit this 100-mile-per-hour fastball coming at me, or spit on his 89-mile-an-hour slider. Like, there's so much going on that as soon as you kind of get emotional or reactive about it, it's done. You're done. So, like, he has power over you on the mound. You chase a slider early in the count, and then he's got you, like, on his heels. He sees you're aggressive, and then he's coming at you, and then a heater's by you, something like that. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Yeah. So, whatever my approach is, I try to stick to it. You know? If you're sitting on a slider, like I'm sitting on a slider, I'm okay looking like a fool on a fastball.
Right. You stick with the approach,
like, a lot of the times when I'm going good, I'm chasing a slider maybe like 0-0 that's bouncing at the 50 feet from home plate, that I don't even see. But if that's a fastball, it's getting cracked. So, you know what I mean?
Right,
exactly.
Like You're ready. You stayed with your approach. And so what if you ended up chasing it doesn't
when you get in trouble is when you start doubting that. It's like, oh no, I swang at that slider.
Right.
Let me like see it more, bang, by you. You know what I mean? Then you get your heater and it's by you. So like you got to be stubborn with your approach. You got to be fully committed. And like for me, like the past, like when I've struggled, that's not happening. I've noticed,
Right. No, that's awesome, because I find that even as a player, when you're in it, it's so tough to explain it.
Yeah.
Because you're unsure of, this is how I feel. So like you do a good job of actually comprehending it, and it's like, this is what I kind of feel, right? So like when I was a player, I couldn't have explained that. But now in hindsight, I'm like, it's plain as day, right?
I don't think people realize like how like much emotion is in the game, and like how much it can hurt you. Like it's just affecting performance at the end of the day. Like, like you want to stay even keel. Every pitch is, its own pitch, and I'm trying to win that pitch. That's it.
Right.
So
no, I'll promise you that's in life, because it's in business and whatever you do, you can't be stirred emotionally every time, right?
Yeah.
Every time. And we were talking about this, I believe it was with Jesse Crane. We were talking earlier about Jesse, but we're always in that fight or flight mode of responses too. Like just reacting on if somebody says something negative to you, our natural fight or flight is just reaction, whether it's emotionally. And that's not good, right? Because you're always controlled by...
For me too, like it was tough. Like I played hockey my whole life, right? So I'm always like go, go, go and all this. And baseball is the total opposite.
Yeah.
You know? So.
And that's what I remember about you.
Yeah.
You were that guy.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, you're intense. I loved your intensity. But now that I see it, it's like a very mature, even keel energy. You don't get crazy excited. You don't get down on yourself too much. It's kind of like you are Tyler Black. This is who Tyler Black is, right? So
absolutely.
So I'm gonna maybe talk about a little sore subject right now. It might not be sore. I don't see it as sore because I believe that you're an important piece to that Milwaukee Brewers organization. You have tremendous value in what you can give and what your game provides. But just recently, you're optioned down to AAA. How did that feel for you? I know we just talked about emotions, trying not to be affected by it, but it had to have.
I mean, I just think it was kind of a combination of things. You know, I came into camp. I hurt my back early on in camp, and you know that didn't help me. Got off to a slow start, and you know I knew I had to have a big camp as a young guy, and you know just didn't go that way. So at the end of the day, man, like as tough as it is to say again, like I'm just gonna go back to AAA and you know try and do my thing and you know get better every day. I try to view it as whether I'm in Milwaukee or Nashville, like I still have to hit and like I still have to you know compete every day, and it really doesn't matter where I'm at. Obviously, I would love to be in the big leagues every day, but right now, like that's just not gonna happen. So, you know, I can sit here and just do whatever, but you know I'm gonna go back to Nashville, get my work in, and you know, hopefully help that team when it's
And it goes back to kind of like what you can control. You really have zero control over
No
that
control.
other than the input you put to be ready, to get better, to do whatever it takes to kind of keep, I guess, the organizational happy from a value standpoint. But what do you think that value is? What do you provide? What do you think you provide in terms of self-awareness? Like what does Tyler Black bring to that table in terms of your game? Or what do you need to do, let's just say, to get there?
I think I just have to be myself. You know, I think just continuing to do that, compete every day, you know, both sides of the baseball. And everything should work out. You know, I don't like getting into numbers. I don't like getting into, you know, I have to do this, because like I said, like there's so much you can't control in this game, and once you try to control it, you're done. So just, you know, try and go do my thing, be myself, and you know, just work every day, man. Just work every day and, you know, try and do what I can.
Yeah, and if everything we talked about today, these are the ebbs and flows of baseball. So it seems like, you know, in order for you to push forward, you got to take a step back, redefine yourself, push forward, find the success, and then again, you get set back by whatever it is, whether it's an injury, because it all affects the psyche, it all affects your mental state, and it instills doubt and fear sometimes in that. So it's not a new cycle that you have to deal with. Is I guess my point is you've been through similar situations where it's like, okay, I'm not ready, or maybe the timing's not right, or maybe this is even a blessing in disguise, right?
Absolutely.
Where it's like
you have to think like that. You have to. It's just, you know, it's just, it is what it is. You know, at the end of the day, I can only control what I can. So, yeah.
So what are you looking forward most to 2025 now? Now that you're healthy now, your refocus is now, okay, I got to, you know, put in my work and get better and still perform in Nashville. What's kind of like your goals for 2025 this year going into the season? I think just
playing baseball again. Like it's like spring training. You know, obviously getting back with the boys is cool and everything, but, you know, the days are long, man. So
Yeah.
I just love, you know, finally looking forward to finally playing baseball again, finally playing meaningful baseball, like competing. And, you know, we have a good group of guys in Nashville, so I think it'll be pretty cool.
So let's talk about Milwaukee as a whole organization. We talked about Pat Murphy just a while ago. I knew him as a coach at ASU and just the type of player he is. How is it playing for an organization like Milwaukee?
I love it. I love it. I think the people are what makes that organization so successful. You know, Murph is obviously the man. First off, like I couldn't get a read on him at first for a little bit, but, you know, kind of learned who he was, his past and everything, and, you know, kind of understood him more, and, you know, just the way he coaches, the way he kind of talks to guys, like he's there to win. And
Right.
You know, obviously a college coach with a lot of young guys is definitely really cool, and, you know, definitely speak the same language. But like even this spring, like they brought in Jace Peterson, they brought in Pat Casey, who honestly really helped me in spring training as well.
Let's talk about one person that stands out to you in the Milwaukee. Like you see all these minor league. There's probably 180 of you guys, you know, in camp, right? They're probably trimming rosters down to 120 or whatever.
Yeah.
But who's one guy that you're like, wow, this guy's like, I really respect his game. Like mine was always like, anytime I talk about Milwaukee, I'm like, I love watching Jackson Chourio. I've seen Jackson Chourio since he was 18, 19 years old playing. So I like following guys like that. Who is a guy that you think in Milwaukee's organization that you're like, oh, this guy's like the real deal?
I think coming off a shoulder injury, Jefferson Caro.
Love it.
You know, he I played with him in Biloxi for a full year pretty much. I played with him in Nashville one game, then he got hurt. But this guy's mature. Like he's a grinder. You know, he comes every day to play, every day to compete, and, you know, obviously that's a tough injury to have. Like I had the same injury,
Right.
but I think that guy's going to be more than fine. I'm excited for him. He's a great dude too. So
Yeah, I think especially in this day and age, the game, they're premium catchers. They don't come out every day, you know. I think he's going to be a premium catcher at a premium position too. And it doesn't help that, you know, you got Will Contreras in the big leagues too. But like I think what you said, Jefferson Cuero, like his game is someone that I'm like, wow. Just because I'm so involved in prospecting and looking at like the upcoming
and it's just
prospects,
who he is
right?
too.
Yeah.
Like he comes up every
Great
day.
character.
Like he's not a really loud guy
Right.
or anything, but he shows up every day, man. Shows up every day and gets it done. So
No, and that's what I love about Milwaukee's system. They keep their minor league system really healthy, and there's always up and coming prospects, but you also have a good mix of veteran guys in the big league club. So I believe, and it's always with Milwaukee, they always finish at the top in terms of their division somehow. Right. So it's always exciting talking about the younger kids and the next generation of Milwaukee. Fans should be excited. I know your name's in the mix. I truly believe that you're going to be an impactful player in the big leagues. It's just a matter of time and value. Like you said, when you get into your groove and you just take care of business, everything will kind of take care of itself. I just feel like, and you've probably experienced that in 2023 where you're just playing the game, and then afterwards you kind of look at the impact you had. You're like, damn, man, like scoring whatever you did, 105 runs in like 500 plate appearances is ridiculous, right? So it's like you didn't focus on I got to score runs.
Exactly.
It's just you're just showing up every day doing your thing, and that's all it takes, really, for you, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I said before, just showing up, like you got to be in the right mindset to compete every day. You know, once you're kind of worried about your own numbers and this, I got to do this, then I think that's just, for me personally, I don't play at my best. So, you know, the more I'm kind of playing for the guy next to me, you know, playing to win every day, I think all the numbers and all that stuff takes care of itself at the end of the day. So
Right. So last question. You're talking to your 16-year-old self. What is the number one advice you would give that 16-year-old self of Tyler
that's
Black?
a good question, man. Stay the course, I guess. You know, just obviously there's a lot of like tough. We talked about it, like a lot of tough kind of things came up early in my career, and just kind of stay the course, and
Right.
you know, it'll all work out.
So when you say stay the course, we're talking about don't lose focus in terms of, like, if you believe in yourself
Yeah.
and you have a goal
Yeah.
and something bad happens,
Yeah.
you can't break.
No, can't break. You got to just keep going.
Keep going, believing in yourself, right?
Yeah.
No, I love that. And I love all this because my whole thing is I want it to parallel life too. Because we have a lot of guys, when they're done professional baseball or college baseball, even Major League Baseball players, they scratch their head and they're like, well, what do I do now? It's like,
Yeah.
well, you've learned a lot in pro ball.
Right, yeah.
You could use that same skill set in, you know, dominating life now, because it's the same thing, that there's going to be a lot of ups and downs in life. There's going to be lots of ups and downs in baseball. Baseball isn't easy. Life isn't easy either. But the common goal is that, you know, you're the one who has the perspective on it. And if you kind of take it with a positive mindset, you won't quit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I appreciate everything. I appreciate you coming down here. I know you're super busy, and you know, that just shows your character too. It's like the last thing you want to do. I felt bad. It's like we had a podcast scheduled, and it's like, man, I don't want to
It's
ask
all
Blackie
good,
right
man.
now. This is the worst
It's all
time.
good.
But I
No.
appreciate even the tickets you got. You
No,
left
it's all
us.
good,
So
brother.
yeah,
All
thanks
good.
so much for having this conversation. I think it's going to bring super value to our audience as well.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.